Amadioha is a comic republic book series that covers the story of an Igbo god from Igbo mythology. He is one of the strongest members of the Alusi, the Igbo pantheon. He is a lightning god and an elder member of the first race. In this video, I'll be going over Amadioha issue 3. Without further ado, let's get into it. This issue picks off with a stunning cover picture where we see Amadioha in his human form, but we see his eyes glowing as lightning escapes from them. He creates a light hologram from the palm of his hands with his powers. The hologram shows a very muscular man holding a woman in place as he raises a cutlass up and tries to behead her. And we also see his daughter watching the hologram with a very serious expression on her face. The second cover page shows Amadioha still in his human form, dressed corporately for work, with his eyes still glowing with power, and we see his daughter also dressed for school in a normal Nigerian primary school uniform. The synopsis read, Amadioha is plagued by dreams and visions of his past, regrets of what could have been, and fear of what may be. He tries to forget them by being a good father to his daughter Amara, who is having issues of her own at school. The issue picks up exactly where it left off in the last issue, with Amadioha still washing plates, and he asks the warden, "Are you looking for a story?" But she replied, "I just want to know the truth. Even if you won't tell me about Amara, at least follow me back to Eluigwe and reclaim your title as Amadioha, our king. We desperately need your leadership. Things are not as you left it." She goes on to say, "I understand the battle was long and hard sacrifices were made, but that doesn't mean..." She was interrupted when she notices the anger of the Stormfather, whose powers were beginning to leak out due to his anger for her words. He gave her a look that made her understood that she crossed the line. He then responded to her, clapping back, saying, "Sacrifices are something I understand well. Do not forget your place, warden." Then we see his daughter fast asleep in bed, with his familiar complaining about them flashing the light. The warden quickly apologized to her king, anime style, or should I say, traditional Igbo style, and then he accepts her apology and walks off angrily. She stated that she must have been possessed by Okpangu to speak to him in such a manner. Later on, we see Amadioha having a dream where he is engaged in combat, riding on a large wild goat into battle. Then we see the mysterious woman carrying the same glowing box as in the previous chapter, stating it is the only way, and then we see Amadioha crying out in pain. Then we see a shot of him on the bed, so we know he is actually dreaming. Then the dream continues and we see Amara, his daughter, holding the same glowing orb, and he shouts to her, "Ama, you shouldn't be here," and she replied, "It is the only way," echoing the previous woman's voice. He wakes up promptly after that and accuses Ekwensu, the Igbo trickster god, saying, "You better not be interfering with my dreams." His daughter then walks into his room saying he called her. He must have mumbled her name in his sleep. He told her to take a seat and then she asked him, "Daddy, did you just bathe? Your body is wet." But he told her that he just had a bad dream. "No more bad dreams for Daddy. You can go back to sleep," she said to him as she walks out of his room, leaving him in shock as to how much his little girl has grown. He decides to get her ready for school now as it was almost time and he didn't want to waste any more money on an alarm clock, referencing how he would unconsciously strike it with lightning when it startled him. He gets up to get ready for work and we see a mysterious shadow figure in his window. We then cut to Amara's school where he drops her off. She and the other students are then directed to the assembly ground where they sing the country of Nigeria's former national anthem and they sing it off-key, with even the teachers either face-palming or laughing in silence. Someone pushed her out of the assembly line and upon intervention by the teachers, she was punished for being out of line. Then later in the classroom, the teacher asks the class a question. When no one steps forward to answer, she then directs the question to Amara, specifically, who also failed to answer, and she was punished by the teacher with several strokes of cane to the palm. I think this only happened because they didn't know who or what exactly she was. For those of my viewers who are not Nigerian, yes, this is how primary schools in Nigeria operate, with a lot of discipline and punishments to enhance conformity. When school closes, she is obviously worn out from the stress of the day, and her eyes are heavy with tears. We return to Amadioha's point of view later that day, and we hear his internal monologue. "No matter how many times I go on school runs, taking Ama to school and coming back in the afternoon to pick her up, patiently watching her search for me just as she walks out of her classroom door, and seeing her face transform into a bright smile when she finally sees me, for that moment, clears every doubt lingering in my mind, reassuring me that coming to Earth was a good decision, albeit an hasty one, and I would do everything in my power to protect this peace I have created for myself." She runs into his arms and he hugs her in a tight embrace. They get into the car and he asks her how was school today, and surprisingly she said fine. Meeting up with daddy makes everything better, I guess. They stopped for ice cream on the way home, and upon getting home, she passed out on the couch watching Super Story. Amadioha comes out to check up on her and he finds her asleep. He says, "Classic Amara. She always manages to fall asleep when watching television. At least I get to talk her into bed." As he's about to leave her, she grabs onto his clothes and tells him to tell her a story. He asks her, does she know the story of how night and day came to be? "No," she said, and he begins to tell her the story the Nigerian way. Story, story, story. Once upon a time, time. He then created a hologram from his lightning powers to visually entertain his child as he told her the story. Wow was her response to this, as it seemed it was the first time of her seeing this particular display of his powers. There was once a wealthy old widow who had everything she had ever desired in life, except for a child to call her own. One day, while she was deep in thought, her trusted maid advises her to visit a native doctor to help her get a child. She meets with the native doctor and explains her plight to him. He responds and tells her that if a child is what you seek, then you are in luck, for Ekwesu has many children and he is able to give you one. The woman rejoices, but the native doctor gives her some instruction. You must be careful on your journey. The beating of drums will guide your feet, but you are not going to stop until you hear a mild ringing. She traveled for many moons, weary of the drum noises, but finally relaxed when she heard a ringing. On meeting the Alusi, the widow was told Ekwesu was out of good children, but there was one handsome boy left standing off on the side. The widow, desperate to have a child of her own, chose the handsome boy, and she thought she'd chosen a wonderful heir in spite of the warnings of the Alusi. "Ah, what a stubborn woman," his daughter remarked. "I think we all know where this is going." The child grew up beheading chickens, later goats, then cattle, then slaves, then free people, and eventually the old widow herself who was taking care of him, which puts the cover page into a lot more context. Ekwensu, as a trickster, had given the boys incredible magical powers, and nobody was safe. But why did Ekwensu do such a thing? He replied to her in the Igbo language, "Who knows? Who knows how water enters into the stalk of the pumpkin? It is his nature, Ama." He continues the story. The only person who the boy had not killed was an old witch who lived at the edge of the village. Terrified, she used juju to turn everything dark so she could flee the village in cover of the dark. But the boy wanted to kill everyone in that village, and he used juju to make everything bright. They kept up this battle of light and darkness for several days until they were both exhausted. In a final desperate attempt, their juju clashed and exploded together. Light and darkness were now permanent parts of the world. And that, Ama, is how day and night came to be. Wait a minute. There's a lot of inconsistencies in this story. If the wealthy widow was going to adopt a child anyways, instead of birthing it herself, why didn't she just get a child from the village to call her own? If there was no night and day before the murderous boy incident, why was it said that the woman worked for many months? Anyways, this African folktale, it is not supposed to make sense, just to teach you some morals and to entertain you. It seems his daughter also had some questions as well. So what happened to the old witch and the boy? Amadioha replied, "The witch turned into a cricket, and the fate of the boy is unknown. Some say Ekwensu called him back to his side after he caused so much trouble. He tucked her into bed as he said to her, 'Sleep well, little one.' And he told himself quietly, 'Of all my lifetimes, with this I am most content.' And he closed the door to his daughter's room, and we see a mysterious figure lurking in the shadows of her room." The issue ends here for now, but overall it's a really interesting chapter, diving a little deeper into the Stormfather's past, giving us a school setting slice of life from Amara's perspective, an ancient Igbo folktale told by a god himself. He probably knows Ekwensu personally, and the main thing that shines throughout is his unwavering love for his daughter. I'll continue to cover more about the Comic Republic and other Comic Republic stories, so make sure to stay tuned for more updates.